Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. A happy Monday to you. It is December 16th. I'm talking to you from my hotel room, a little bit outside of Philadelphia. We stayed in Valley Forge, but going to talk about the Steelers' 27-13 loss to the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. You might not want to hear about it, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Also going to break in a new format for these sort of game recap episodes. I want to get to 10 thoughts, 10 takes from this one, stuff that I think about the game. So I think you'll enjoy it. We'll find out. First, want to remind you, though, that this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. So let's get into it. Number one, the game plan was horrible. You're going to hear me say blank was horrible a few times, and I doubt you will disagree, but I thought it was way too vanilla. This was not one of Arthur Smith's better showings. It started early on, a couple runs into the middle, nondescript, confusing play calling. They did not have a run longer than 8 yards, and it resulted in a bunch of ugly numbers. It's the fewest offensive yards for the Steelers, 163, since they had 127. That was a win against the Titans on September 19th of 2010. Thank you very much, Jerry Dulac, for that one. They had just 10 first downs, their fewest since they had 10 against the Ravens December 29th of 2019. Also hat tip to Jerry for that one. They didn't run more than 3 offensive plays until their 6th drive, and I can think of one play that I'd like to excise from the playbook, the toss to Najee Harris. I doubt you will disagree. Russell Wilson, just 128 yards. Not good. We'll get more into it. I want to flip to the officiating for thought number 2. I thought that was, drumroll please, also horrible. On a few different levels. That kerfuffle with Darnell Washington and Calvin Austin III ends up getting an unnecessary roughness call. I didn't understand that. I didn't even understand what Darnell did. You're blocking to the whistle. That's what you coach players to do. I didn't think that required much of anything. The Montravius Adams thing where he mauled the snapper, I don't know. The unnecessary roughness called on Jalen Carter in the 4th quarter. They said it happened in the change of possession. I didn't understand. Maybe we're at the game and we get limited information. You guys actually get more on TV than we do there. But I didn't understand a few things, and I didn't look at this game overall and thought it was particularly officiated well. All right. Third thing I didn't really like was Mike Tomlin's use of, well, a lot of things. Didn't have the Steelers ready to play. That's certainly a fair criticism, but how he used his timeout, or let's say he didn't use his timeouts at the end of the first half, didn't understand allowing so much time to tick off there. Honestly, the decision I disliked more, though, 4th and 7 from the 46, from the opposing 46, down 2 scores, 10:40 to go in the game, and he punts. Why? Why would you punt there? Stay aggressive. They give the ball back to the Eagles, and they never get it back. I didn't like that. I thought that was the definition of living in your fears. Don't understand that one at all. Thought number 4. Thought this was probably, you can make the case, the worst game Najee Harris has played as a Steeler. Was a non-factor in this one. Had 6 carries, 14 yards, and that fumble was so costly. The Steelers did kind of have something going. Could have been a tie game if they score there. Wounds up being a 14-point deficit. A pitch that, as much as you hate the play, you can't possibly let that go. And Najee talked after the game and said it was basically a case of not securing the ball, not looking at it, not looking it into his hands. Kind of what you'd expect him to say, but just a non-factor in a game where they really needed to have something go right consistently. And hey, maybe it was game plan. Maybe there's not enough to respect in the passing game. I think there's a lot, but I think back to those consecutive 100-yard games and what a game breaker Najee was showing at various times this season, and it was just a far cry from it there. All right, number 5, before we get to our break, it's been a long time since I've seen something this so lopsided in terms of plays, possessions, first downs, yards, etc. Some more numbers. First downs, 26-10 in advantage of Philadelphia. 401 to 163 in yards. Time of possession, 39:52 to 20:08. Think about that. That is absolutely crazy. In the second half, the Steelers had just 2 possessions and ran 11 plays. absolutely nuts. It's a shame, really, because the Eagles ended up just kind of demoralizing the Steelers and kept them on the field for so long. They weren't able to do anything. The offense wasn't able to get in a rhythm. The defense wasn't able to catch his breath, and it was just a bad combination. All right, I have 5 more thoughts to get to, but first want to get to our break, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. I'm Jason Mackey. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday, talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Thanks so much for finding us. Have 5 more thoughts here, and we'll kick that off with Saquon Barkley, of all things. I thought that he was going to be the game breaker. The Steelers had to stop, and this game was going to go as Saquon went. And, well, I was wrong. The Steelers actually shut down Saquon Barkley, was held to his second lowest yardage total of the season, 65 yards. The problem, it was everybody else who beat them. I can't say I'm terribly surprised. I found the narrative surrounding this game kind of interesting, where people were kind of bagging on Jalen Hurts in the passing game, and partly because they were doing it themselves. The Eagles had some turmoil with A.J. Brown speaking out, and then he and Jalen Hurts have to hug and make up or whatever. But it ends up the passing game was pretty darn good, and I worried this would be the case the entire time. Jalen Hurts, 25 of 32, 290 and 2 touchdowns, ran it 15 times, 45 yards and a touchdown, was a huge, huge factor. Distributed the ball well. They worked the middle of the field. He got it out. And, well, he found A.J. Brown quite a bit, 8 for 110 and a touch. Devonta Smith was also a huge factor, 11 catches, 109 yards and a touchdown. So I guess just a little bit of surprise, and it just seems strange that the Steelers were able to do such a good job against Saquon Barkley, but they still couldn't win the game. All right, number 7, TJ Watt's injury is strange, scary, mysterious. Don't know what's kind of going on there. When it happened, it looked a lot more serious than it did after the game. So we get into the locker room after the game. Watt talks, which for a serious injury is somewhat rare, unexpected. He didn't say much, said we'll just have to wait and see. You don't need me to tell you the significance of TJ Watt being out. We're doing our job as reporters, looking at him. Is he walking around? Does he have anything on the ankle? Does it look weird? None of that stuff was that way. Looked completely normal. If he wasn't, if I didn't see him come out of the game in the fourth quarter, I wouldn't think he was injured, but we'll see. And given the tests that the Steelers have the next couple of weeks and the obvious importance for TJ Watt in the long term, can't really understate that. This list is in no particular order as well. It's just 10 things I thought of this game, and I jotted down and wanted to talk about with you. So obviously TJ Watt's health is very high up there. Not in the same conversation as TJ Watt, but number 8, Dante Jackson's health. He's been banged up a lot, left with a back issue, something he's been battling, could not come back. What does this mean? What does this mean for Lamar Jackson? What does this mean for Baltimore next week as the Steelers turn their attention to trying to win the AFC North there? If he can't go, what happens? Obviously, Joey Porter Jr. at one corner spot, but does that mean more time for Cam Sutton? It could. They're already down to Sean Elliott. I think that loss was felt pretty significantly against the Eagles. So losing another DB, Jackson didn't play a great game. I think he'd be the first one to tell you that, but attrition and injuries in the secondary, obviously not what you want there. The Steelers, as much as we want to talk about the game plan, this is number 9, as much as we want to talk about the game plan, injuries, Mike Tomlin, whatever, they were sloppy. They were sloppy, and there were a lot of self-inflicted wounds on offense, penalties on defense, missed tackles. It was not a great tackling game from that standpoint. They finished with 5 penalties for 60 yards. The Zach Frazier tripping call, kind of not really arguing with it. It just, further set them behind the sticks. There was a holding call on Dan Moore Jr. that was costly, illegal motion on Van Jefferson. He's been getting too many penalties. Obviously a big mistake with Najee's fumble on the toss. Just not a clean game, not even close to what it needs to be for the Steelers. Last one, and this is going to be a big storyline for next week and beyond. We're seeing what this offense is without George Pickens, and I don't like it. And we've talked a lot about his value contract, what they should do, him proving his worth in absentia. That was a headline to Joe Starkey's column last week. I really like that, but it's true. And Calvin Austin III was their leading receiver, 5 catches, 65 yards. 31 of them came on that flea flicker. Mike Williams was targeted just twice, caught 1 pass for 15 yards. I don't know what's going on there. I don't have a magic answer. I guess I'll provide a magic solution that it needs to change. It's not going to work. And we know the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to score points. The Steelers are going to have to score with them. It's been quite a challenge for them to significantly do that, or consistently do that, I should say, with George Pickens out. I still think they could go to Pat Freiermuth more. I still think they need to go to Pat Freiermuth more. But that's not a magic answer. That's not just going to solve all of their problems. And they can't just magically sign somebody, although I guess Odell Beckham Jr. is an option, but I don't think that's a realistic solution. In any case, the guys they have, they need more out of them, whether that's Williams, whether that's Austin, whether that's Van Jefferson, Ben Skoranek, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But somebody among that group of wide receivers is going to have to step up, and step up fast. All right, thanks so much for checking us out. Hopefully you like the 10-thought format. I know I do. I'd probably stick with it for next week unless I get some complaints. We'll see. But make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and much, much more from our Post-Gazette, North Shore Drive, YouTube, and podcast elements. And be back here same time, same place. Thanks for checking out First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.